Hi, everyone, and welcome to Uncork PA. I'm your host, Missy Wilson. I'm a second-generation winery owner at Sutter Ridge Vineyards in Kutztown, and I'm happy to have been part of the Pennsylvania wine industry for almost 20 years now. Throughout the podcast, we'll be sharing with you the wonderful vineyards, the wineries, and of course, wines celebrated throughout the state of Pennsylvania. Today, we're actually talking about the Pennsylvania wine industry and some fun facts as we celebrate Pennsylvania Wine Month, which is October. And I'm also happy to introduce you to one of the many multi-generational wineries in Pennsylvania, Penn's Woods Winery, as we talk to father and daughter, Gino and Carley. So October is Pennsylvania Wine Month. It's a great time to get out and explore wineries throughout the state. I suggest visiting the Pennsylvania Wineries website at pennsylvaniawine.com. And when you go there, you can find some additional information about wineries in your area, wineries that you've been interested in visiting, some information about various grapes that are grown throughout the entire state, and some fun pairing ideas and so much more. It's a great website to really spend some time exploring. So with it being Pennsylvania Wine Month, I have a few fun facts about Pennsylvania wines and wineries that you can actually share with others as you're enjoying that glass or bottle of Pennsylvania wine. So Pennsylvania wine actually predates the birth of the United States. So the first grapes were brought to Pennsylvania by William Penn from Bordeaux actually in 1682. They were planted in Philadelphia in what's now Fairmount Park. And then fast forward a few years, the first commercial winery in the state actually was bankrolled by both Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, and several other people. By the 1900s, wineries actually could be found in all 67 counties throughout the entire state. Unfortunately, Prohibition happened and did create a minor setback, but as you know, you can go out and visit wineries in multitude of places at the moment. So there are actually more wineries than there are covered bridges throughout the state. So Pennsylvania is home to nearly 300 wineries, and they range in size. You have very large wineries to very small wineries. You have high-end boutique wineries to fun, casual, laid-back wineries. The wines range from dry to sweet and anywhere in between. And wherever you are in Pennsylvania right now, there is at least one winery within an hour's drive of you. In addition to the many wineries, Pennsylvania can actually boast to being the 5th largest in the nation for grape growing too, with over 14,000 acres of vines planted. Our climate in Pennsylvania is actually more similar to Europe than it is to the West Coast, so it's really hard to compare our wines to West Coast wines. The wines and the grapes that are grown in places such as Spain and France and Italy are very similar to the grapes that we grow here, such as Pinot Noir and Albarino. In addition, the warm summers and the cold winters are similar in climate to there as well. So you don't want to judge our wines based on others in the United States. You can see wines and our similarity to those in Europe. The wineries throughout Pennsylvania are actually a major tourism draw too, and over 2 million visitors per year stop by the doors and enter the doors of all the Pennsylvania wineries. In addition to the delicious wines and the fun experiences you can have, many wineries also boast amazing sunsets, beautiful vistas, and acres of vineyards and so much more. So in addition to getting your wine and enjoying that, you also have the beautiful settings to enjoy as you're going out and visiting Pennsylvania wineries. So Pennsylvania is distinctly different from a lot of other wine regions within the United States. Although it might not be as well known as California or Oregon or Washington, the wineries within Pennsylvania for the most part are actually being run by individuals, with decisions being made about the directions of the wine on the organic level versus on the corporate scale that you see a lot of times, both in the vineyards and in the wineries once you hit the West Coast. Many of the wineries are actually run by families. You have husbands and wives, siblings, and many have become multi-generational with parents working alongside of their children, which is actually what I do with my father at Sutter Ridge. And today we're actually going to be exploring the nuances of these multi-generational wineries with Penn's Woods Winery located in the southeastern part of the state. And I'm happy to have on with us the program today, Gino and Carley, who are father and daughter who run Penn's Woods Winery. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Gino and Carley.
Thanks for having us, Missy.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start at the beginning. So Gino, can you tell me a little bit about how the dream and your passion for Penn's Woods started? So where did it all begin?
Well, it began a long time ago. When I was 6 years old, of course, I was born and raised in Italy. My only preoccupation was to get to the collar of Montepulciano on my feet because I used to help my father making wine. And truthfully, at that time, we stomped on it with our feet. And that thing was so dark that it turns your feet blue for about a week. So I've said that within a family, we used to grow grapes in Italy. Then I immigrated to the United States for when I was 17, and I pursue my career as an engineer in aerospace engineering. By 1972, I decided to go in a wine business. So I opened an import business, which we still own today, became quite large. But a few years ago, I said, well, I had enough of buying, selling wine. So I would like to retire. I need a little toy to play with. So this winery, Jeff Harrington used to have a little winery over here. It came for sale, so I bought it. And but I had intention just to have some fun. That is all. He had about 8 acres of grapes, and I said this will be just perfect. Well, what happens is it happens like to the pizza shop. They don't know how to make pizza, and what he does is he put flowers. It's too hard. We'll put some water. Much too soft. So we put some more flour, some water. The pizza got so big that I can no longer control it. Let's put it this way, because I got my daughter involved into that. And that's one of the worst thing I could have done, frankly, because she wasn't happy with little things. She wants to go big and big and big. It came to the point after 22 years that I started the winery, and Carley's been with me about 12. And she brought alongside with Andrea and Davide such such expansion, such involvement in winery that it really got out of hand, or my hand anyway. So I said, okay, you guys, you do such a great job. You go with it. You run with it. And today they're doing a fantastic job as Davide, as our new vice president of production, and Carly and Andrea running the sales and managing the company, that I feel super comfortable to let them run on their own. So they do a fantastic job. And I keep telling them, don't ask me anymore. Your training wheel is off. Go. Make the decision. If you fall, go ahead and fall. I hope you get up.
And you
But
never sense it.
this how do we do? We expanded. I bought some additional land, and we have quite few acres, and we grow quite few different grapes, and from Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc, Merlot, Cabernet, Chardonnay. Viognier and so forth, sort of Moscato, but just to name few. And we find that the weather and everything over here, it it's very cooperating. And I do follow the weather chart of Bordeaux, Burgundy, Piedmont, Tuscany, and Italy. We find that we don't have that much difference. If you lay out the temperature chart on top of each other, it'd be amazing what you find. Uh, so I think I really believe that Pennsylvania is here to stay, even though we are the fourth largest grape producers. It is because of Lake Erie, there we grow a lot of Concord for juice. But however, when I started over here, I was tasting some Pennsylvania wine, and I kind of got backed off into it. Someone trying to help me, but they asked me if I could help make their wines. I said, "What? Are you crazy? You can't make wine in Pennsylvania. Have you have any Pennsylvania wine?" Well, to make the story short, when I got involved, I was very surprised that the quality of the grapes was there. It just need just a little more credibility on the market. People get involved with some knowledge of wine about the wine business. So I started, and to my surprise, I found a very fertile soil, not for the soil itself, but very fertile area to make a good wine. And then, as your fathers, your Waltz, and other came up, we pretty much started around the same time. And I was hoping that I could convince people to really invest in it. And they did. Few did, and they are the leading wineries today here in Pennsylvania. So I am extremely happy, and I think the quality will keep going up because making wine as a hobby and making wine professionally definitely is two different things. And unfortunately, we are so far away from the real big industries that it's difficult to find the equipment, the supplies, so forth and so on. You know, up to 2 years ago, we equipped a lab to a very expensive equipment. But 2 years ago, even now, if you want some test, you have to send them out to California or to Virginia, and you'll get the information 3 days later. Well, I need it now, today. I'm fermenting right now. Within 2 hours, I got to know how I'm going to react to this thing. No, I said about 3 days from now. About 3 days from now, the train went already. So this is the difficult part. And you can buy the equipment, but if it breaks down, then there is no resource for you to fix it immediately. So you got to get extra space parts, and you still end up with some of the specialized equipment. You have to wait 2 or 3 weeks. I said, "What are you crazy? You just can't do that." So this what makes it difficult, the Pennsylvania wine industry. But I think we are getting there. We get resources. We get people to pay attention to the industry, and I think Pennsylvania wine is going to fly high. I mean, believe me, because we definitely can make wine. I don't want to talk bad about our neighbors, but we have a better condition to some of our neighbors around. I'm not saying about Pennsylvania neighbors, but the state neighbors, that we can really shine, and I am confident of it, and I will reinforce that to my daughter, to the people that work with me, or any people that I can talk to go ahead and forge ahead, because it is just a wonderful future. And not just me, but some of the producer has proven also that my thinking is correct.
That's great. Yeah. And so Carley, you did bring in your second generation. So you brought your daughter in to help you. Carley, did you know you always wanted to be in the wine business, or is it something you kind of just happened to stumble on?
No. I've been working with my father in the summers since I was young. I would always be in the office. And every summer, after high school and college, I would come home and work with him. But I was out living in Colorado, and just living a very relaxed, free lifestyle, working for a nonprofit. But it was 2009, and there were no jobs. And he was like, "You know what? It's time. It's time you come home. You need to come home and work with me." And I kind of was like, I don't know about that. Working together that's a big step. But in 2009 I ended up coming home, and it was the best thing I ever did. I started working with the wine import company. Because I knew a little bit about that, some from working there in the summers, but it kind of wasn't really for me. I was more drawn to the local aspect, the local wine scene, and quite honestly, just being able to wear my overalls to work every day was a big plus. So yes, I became passionate about it very quickly, and saw that there was just so much untapped potential in Pennsylvania wine and in the industry that it like made me giddy, because it was just like it was like a blank slate that you could just kind of take off with, and that's where I was like drawn to.
So you guys have been working together for like 12 years or so right now. How has the dynamic changed, and how have your roles changed over the course of those 12 years? Are things the same now? Obviously, as Gino mentioned earlier, the business has grown from his fun little hobby to something extraordinary, which is great. But in that time frame, has your relationship in the business changed? Have your roles changed? What have you guys kind of done over the past decade or so?
You want to go, Dad?
Well, it's at the beginning, Carly was like a young horse out of the gate. She just want to run. I said, hold on, let's let's do it organized. But to my surprise, between her and Andy, they pretty much started around the same time. They were really great students and a hard worker. And frankly, sometimes they come out with solution better than I would have done. So the work relationship has been just great, I think. I don't have any problems. I never had any problems or doubt or their ability. Of course, they made a decision the best of their knowledge, and I respected that, and the things went well. I felt extremely comfortable with in between Carly, Andy, and Davide working around. Of course, the difference in age. I had a lot of experience in this industry, in this wine industry. I mean, I dealt with some of the best producer in the world. I traveled a lot. You know, I've been totally immersed in this for about 45, 50 years now, almost 45 years. And that helped a lot. And to my surprise, they really listened when I made a suggestion. And the result, it's quite satisfactory. You know,
Yeah,
that's all I can
say
say.
the same. Yeah, I think our working relationship is awesome. I mean, obviously there were growing pains in the beginning because we just had our ideas were like through the roof, and he was like, calm down now. But
Down a little bit.
yeah, simmer down. But what was nice about it is we were able to make some of the mistakes he let us make so that we could learn and realize and see what worked and what didn't work, which I think is really important rather than somebody just saying, no, move on. And I think roles have definitely changed. I mean, when I started, my dad was in the tractor in the field. He was having me, in the winery, tasting the wines, and he was very involved and in the day-to-day operations. And now fast forward 12 years later, he's finally able to do what he wanted to do 12 years ago, which was kind of just sit back and enjoy it and tinker around and have suggestions, and if he wants to make his own style wine or whatever, he does. But the business itself is, he's been able to put it in our hands so that we can kind of take it from here. So that's definitely changed.
So, Gino, you got back the pleasure of not having to be as involved in the everyday aspect of the business, then, huh?
Well, not always every day, but sometime it'll be a month and a half before I come to the tasting room where all the operation is. I pretty much get my only involvement is the philosophy of the typology of the wine that we have to put forth to our customers and make sure that we don't veer too far off the course. I would like to maintain a steady. I do understand the wine business in a big way, an international way. Uh, you know, I run a very large wine business, so this one is a little tinker toy. But I'm trying to give it a structure, a big structure, a very small winery. So don't veer off only because where people wants this. Some people ask me this. Well, okay, we don't do that. We just do this. They come. We don't make wine just for the people that they want. We have a philosophy. We have a winery. We have a very structured idea of what are we going to do, what we did, and what we are doing actually. So it's easy to get pulled off by venues, by all kinds of things. No, we're not a venue. We are a winery. We make wine, and we're going to commit to making the very best wine as possible in Pennsylvania, uh, spare the none. So it is very difficult because sometimes you can be distracted about this philosophy. So my philosophy is, to help them to keep a steady heel, go forward, and this is who we are, and this is what makes us successful. And it's been, sometimes, it can be distracting. To see what people want, and so forth and so on. We can do everything to everybody. We can do to everybody what we're doing, and we do our best. That's it. And
Great. So you actually have the next generation waiting in the wings, ready to start helping out. So Carley, you have two children that are younger, and I'm guessing your kids kind of do the same thing that my kids do, and are there summers and vacation, Easter vacation, and Christmas vacation. You have two little ones hanging around all the time. How do they enjoy their time in the winery and the vineyard? And do you think that they are going to make that step into becoming you guys making you into a third generation winery instead of past the
I
second?
will answer that. I have two wonderful grandchildren, but for specifically Olivia, she has an incredible palate at her age.
She does.
You do a smoothie, she'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you what you put in. Say, oh, you got the banana, you got this, you got this, and said, where did you get that? And I'm hoping, and I'll bait the trap as much as I can. Let her be the third generation on it.
Right now they love coming to the tasting room. I always get from their teachers, they're like, Olivia. Miles is a bit younger. He's 5, she's 6.5. But the teachers are like, she's your biggest salesperson. She goes, come to my mommy's winery. You'll really enjoy it. We have live music on the weekends. So right now they enjoy their time. They eat all the cheeses. They're very good at knowing what local cheeses are the best, and the local honeys. But they love, I mean, what what kid doesn't love running around acres and acres of farmland and just playing and rolling down the hills? And so they definitely appreciate it. And I'm hoping that they'll be involved because it's a lot of work. And if, a lot of these wineries, if you don't have someone to pass it on to, you're working so hard. It's almost like, who's gonna take it next? Like, who's gonna take my baby?
Exactly, your passion, and the nice part is you can instill your passion and your love of the land and the vines and the wines, and like they've known that since they've grown up, which is amazing because both you and I think are in the same place where, we got to enjoy it as we were older, but not like the way that kids really get that like passion and love of what they know and have grown up with, which is amazing and awesome.
For sure.
So now that we have a little bit of your guys' backgrounds, let's talk about what's going on right now. So what are some of the wines that you guys have in production and that you have out on the shelf? And do you have any kind of fun wines that you're getting ready to release or that are in production from previous vintages that you're really excited about, the coming up and really getting people out to try?
Well, let's see. Right now we produce, like my father said, like we grow Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Moscato. We grow Moscato d'Ambruggo, which is kind of a unique varietal. It's a black-skinned Moscato. So we make two different types of Moscato and Moscato Rose. We have Viognier. Sauvignon Blanc is one of our popular wines, as well as Chardonnay. I'd say for reds right now, Pinot Noir, which you also grow a lot of. Pinot Noir has been a very popular one and one of the newer reds of varietals that we've been growing. But we're about to enter our winter months. So we're getting ready to release some of our 2019s, 2020s, depending. Sometimes I actually released a bunch of 2020s before my 19s this time around. But we'll be releasing a Cabernet Franc soon, which we haven't had on the shelves in about a year, which is really, really exciting. We're still, I don't know about you guys, but after the 2018 vintage where there wasn't basically any red, we've, kind of had been struggling to keep up. So we're just finally catching up and being able to release all of these awesome reds that we have and getting back on track. But I think most exciting white-wise that we've released a really fun blend called our Wildflower White. We're working to completely move to a state-grown wine. That's like the goal and philosophy that we're trying to get to. We are PA grown, but we want to grow all of our own grapes. And to do that, some of the varietals that we made when we first started as a winery, which were grapes that we could get, source locally, was Traminette. And it was such a popular varietal. But my dad was like, we don't grow that much Traminette. We can blend it, but we can't make a single varietal that's from our grapes. So we started a Wildflower White, which is a really fun field blend white of all the whites that we grow. And it has just been wildly popular to not only our wine club members, but, customers that just kind of stumble upon us as well.
So speaking of like wine club and people coming in and trying, if people want to come and visit you guys on site, do they need reservations in order to do a tasting or just enjoy the afternoon at the winery?
So we're open 7 days a week, and Monday through Friday you don't need any reservations. On weekends, we highly suggest reservations. We basically will accept walk-ins until we're at max capacity. But for wine tasting, you don't need a reservation. It's really just to sit and enjoy the music, the atmosphere, the kind of experience on the lawn. You can always come in, do a tasting, But if you wanted to stay on a Saturday and Sunday, we always suggest making a reservation so you can snag that table.
Perfect. So if people are interested in coming to trying your wines, but they can't make it out to see you anytime soon, do you ship, or are there locations that they can grab your wine from?
So we are in about 10 different Wegmans in Pennsylvania, and we do ship right now within PA, Jersey, and New York. We are working slowly to acquire a few more licenses in the most popular states. So that is kind of like my winter project to get us a few more licenses to ship. But
Perfect.
yes, we plan on it.
Perfect. So if they're interested in finding out all your hours, getting reservations, shipping wine, and things like that, what is your guys' website?
So it's www.pennswoodswinery.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Gino and Carley, so much for joining us today and giving us a little bit of background, not only about your winery, but really like the idea of what Pennsylvania wineries are about, and the relationships and the families and the passion that a lot of these families have to producing the best wines they possibly can. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we definitely recommend you guys visiting them at their winery at Penns Woods, or grabbing a bottle of wine and enjoying it during Pennsylvania Wine Month this month. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So with this month being Pennsylvania Wine Month, it's a great month to go out and try those Pennsylvania wines or celebrate with your favorite Pennsylvania wine. Don't forget to visit the Pennsylvania Winery Association's website at pennsylvaniawine.com to find the wineries close to you, wineries on your bucket list, and information about the varietals, flavor profiles, and things like that. Make sure you join us on our upcoming podcast as we talk about the Pennsylvania Somm Judgment. We'll announce the wineries and the wines that have made their way into the top in 2022. And the great part is that all these wines are released currently, so you don't have to wait a year or two. If you can't wait, keep an eye on the Pennsylvania Winery Association's Facebook and Instagram pages, as they'll be announcing the winners there as well. And don't forget to listen to us live the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month, starting at noon on Facebook and YouTube. And if you can't join us live, you can watch at any time, whenever's the most convenient for you, or you can join us on the audio version from Apple, Spotify, or you can download from wherever you stream your favorite podcast. We want to thank the Pennsylvania Winery Association for supporting this program with the grant money from the PLCB, and we look forward to sharing some additional hidden gems of the Pennsylvania wine world with you next time. Have a great day.